Hi guys, I'm home. I didn't know if that was going to be a thing that happened today. Wow, where do I begin? You know, today started kind of early. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with starting early. I may as well just record. I may as well talk about this part at least. Pet the cat a little. So I was working up in Palmdale today. There's a little studio up there that I don't deal with too often, but you know, they wanted me for a day and I'm like, sure, I like money. So I went up there to go do it, and that sounds like a bot, but thank you for the follow. You know, I did my usual thing at like 1:15, 1:30 in the afternoon or so. And I'm already exhausted by this point because sleep comes hard for me. The board just is like, nah. The board is just like, nah. And, okay, cool. Board's not reacting to Pro Tools anymore. That's helpful. What do I do from there? Well, the answer turned out to be, nothing. We ended up, like, 3 techs in there trying to make... I think it was, like, a Huey driver thing. I don't know if it was Huey or whatever protocol it was. I'm not sure it matters. But for whatever reason, thing A and thing B just were not communicating with each other anymore. So after, like, 3 techs from the studio tried messing with it, and none of them could get anything to work, they let me go. I'm like, alright, fine. And I'm excited, because I'm like, wait, that means I have a chance to come back for more E12 attempts. Let's do it. So I'm, like, not exactly in a hurry, but I'm trying to get home, like, relatively, like, I'm not going slowly or anything. I don't know why the hell anyone riding a Harley would go slow, but, you know. So I'm riding, and I'm like, between Palmdale and Acton. And Acton is a no fucking just dust town. It's just, it sucks. It's like 5 buildings and a bunch of tractors. It's really pointless. There's an AM/PM, Shell, a McDonald's, and a shitload of farmland. And one unnecessarily good restaurant, which I really want to go back to one day, but that's not part of the story. Oh god, my hair's fucking all over the place. Sorry, I'm... Anyways, so I got home. No, I didn't get home. What the fuck am I talking about? I mentioned it's been a day. So I'm riding, and I'm in the carpool lane, because motorcycles are allowed to take the carpool lane in California. And all of a sudden, there's this debris that comes out from under this, onto the car ahead of me, and I'm like, well, shit, there's nothing I can do about that, so I just sort of brace myself. And I hit this debris, like, head on. And I bounce. I am like, whoa! I got winded pretty good on that one, but I didn't have a problem. I kept the bike upright, and I'm driving, and I'm realizing my turns are getting real sluggish. So I'm like, fine. I'm getting close to the Crown Valley Road exit. I start, like, I put on my hazards, and I start maneuvering the bike, and it is a struggle. It is a fucking struggle to get this bike over to the off-ramp. And I get it, and I pull into the AMP. I pull into the Arco. And I start surveying the damage, and it sucks. It is bad. So my first call is to my cousin, Nelson, who lives up that way. He recently joined my FF14 FC. That was pretty cool of him. So I call Nelson, and I'm like, dude, this thing happened. I know you're up in Lancaster. What do we do? Oh, God. And, like, he's looking for tows, and meanwhile, I'm calling people looking for tows, and the damage on my bike is, like, bad. The front tire is totally shredded. I didn't find this out till later, but the back wheel is bent, too. And then I hit so hard that the rim of my bike shatters. I lost a spoke. I don't know how I kept this bike upright. I must be a much better rider than I gave myself credit for, because I should not have kept the bike upright. Holy shitballs. And I'm just like, cool. So I'm calling everybody I can think of. First tow guy I call is the one that's on the sign at the Arco, and I'm like, well, I don't have any trucks. I'm like, what the fuck good are you? I didn't say that to him, but I'm thinking it. I'm being as polite as I can be, but I am stressed the ever-loving fuck out. I'm in Acton with a bike that can't ride. This is a problem. And I'm calling everybody, and finally, after interfacing with Harley Davidson of Santa Clarita, I get an A1 towing in Redondo Beach to answer my call and be like, yes, I will come get you. And I'm like, it'll be like 2 hours. I'm like, I don't care. I am fine with that. Thank you. But then as this is going on, I'm sorry, I actually missed an important part of this. As I was getting off the freeway with this flat, a patched member of a Latino MC that's up there, and I wish I could tell you which one. I did not see his patch. I saw his Soldado, notation, but I did not see what patch he was, and I wish I could give credit to this MC where it's due. He actually, escorted me off the highway and got me to that Arco safely. And, he actually, rode with me, and, my dude, thank you. I know there's a 0% chance you are watching this right now or will ever see this, but to the one random rider in the Latino MC in Antelope Valley who came to my aid, even if just for that little bit, to get me off the highway safely, thank you. Because when you get into a road incident like that one, this is the worst moving incident I have ever been in as a driver or rider of any kind. Yeah, real nice guy. And he got me to that Arco. Anyways, while I'm at that Arco, and I'm calling everybody I can think of, and I finally get in touch with that Redondo Beach guy, I'm also talking with the dude that I met, who was just buying some energy drinks at that Arco. I think it was, Bang Energy Drink or whatever. And he's like, I ride too. Maybe you should try this Russ Brown, which is this, I guess you'd call it a community outreach for motorcycle riders. And he, sorry, Russ Brown is, the organization. I did not speak to Russell Brown himself. I don't have that clout. But I call them, and I'm like, hey, here's the situation. I'm a stranded rider in Acton. I am trying to get my bike to any dealership that will help repair this shit so I can, get my bike back, because these are my wheels, man. I can't really go without them. It's like, for most of you who drive a car, if you don't have your car, that's a bad day. And, yeah, I was out in the fucking high desert, 105-degree weather, Fahrenheit. I know I have some European viewers, and this late at night I probably do. 105 Fahrenheit, which is fucking hot. That's probably north of 40 Celsius somewhere. That's in the 40 range Celsius, I'm sure. That is a very uncomfortable temperature to be standing around in. But I end up through them interfacing with, through Russ Brown, and that led me to getting a separate tow, a much closer one. So I called the first guy off. The guy I was talking to at the Arco is actually a prospect of a completely different MC, the Sundowners. And I've seen Sundowners patches all throughout the Antelope Valley every time I go up there. The cat's arrived and messing with my camera. Thanks, Ginger. Always a pleasure. It actually is. I missed my cat today. So this is the second actual, motorcycle club member who's helped me out, as Ginger bonks the camera again, in one day. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Alright. Here, come on. Look at you out there. Let me see you that's not bonking the camera, please. Come on, I'm trying to tell my story. Anyway, so, for those of you who don't know, I'm not sure you guys can see this, I'm Jewish, and I wear my Magen David proudly. But when the guy who came to tow me showed up, I immediately am like, I need to put this away. I don't want this guy to know I'm Jewish. No good can come from this. Because this dude rolls up in this, ancient fucking truck. He's got a big fucking Confederate flag on the back of it. He's got a shirt that's keep calm and return fire, or something violent like that. And I'm like, this guy's got one too many red flags. And the last time I was up in the area, I had some old lady throw a white power gang sign at me. So I'm just as if my day isn't wacky enough, now all of a sudden I get racist grandpa helping me out with my bike. And this story gets weirder. So I put away my Magen David. And this guy is he's a motor mouth. He is old. He's 70s, maybe 80s. He is old. But he's helping me get my bike loaded and getting it to AV, so I can't, like... I'm very conflicted about how to feel about this, because I am deeply grateful for this guy's assistance, but also he's a racist bastard, so I don't really know what to do with any of this. This is really contradictory in my mind. I'm used to this guy, like... This kind of guy is used to being a complete jackass, but he's gone way the fuck out of his way to help my sorry ass, a complete stranger. So I'm, like, real weird on this one. And... Hi, Ginger. Are you done with my camera by any chance, Fuzzball? But as we're loading it, he's, like, getting super wind... Ginger! Okay, that's enough of you out of you. Come on. Get off of there. We're done with this, the camera thing. Come on, get off of there. Come on, down here. Down this way. Nope, I'm kidnapping the Fuzz. You are mine now. There we go. There is now Cat while I tell my story. This guy's getting super winded. Like, I don't even want to call it winded. And he's talking to me like how he just had procedures. And how he, railing about doctors and shit. I'm sure this guy wasn't vaccinated. Like, let's just be honest about this. But I gotta act the part. So I'm like, I'm probably not the person who should mask in front of him. I think that would piss him off. And I don't need this guy pissed. He's saving my ass right now. I regret not letting the guy from Redondo come get me, despite that being 2.5 hours away. I would have much rather spend the money on, like, the guy I know is probably not going to be an awful human being, but this old guy was trying his hardest to help me, despite, you know, and he was doing things like sitting down the concrete, laying down the concrete. I was getting scared I would have to call an ambulance for this guy, or worse yet, he would just flat out keel over and die right in front of me. But he kept, like, okay, Ginger, you don't want to be held right now. But he kept, like, really pushing and really trying to get this thing done, and I'm, like, helping to tie him onto this. And it is really jury-rigged. Like, it is... This is not a very safe tie-on to his hitch. Like, I'm like, this is scary. He had one of those, bike trailers that you see that he has behind his pickup with the, like, fold-down cage. So, I, like, rode it up as much as I could. It was very hard to turn because my front rim is fucked. And I ride it up as far as I can get it, and I'm in first gear. I got power steering on my, not power steering, power, I got like a big power train. I'm belt driven, so I'm not like, it's not like a chain driven where it's very precise, like there's some give, so I'm losing a few inches just by doing this. And it takes us like an hour to get this thing hooked in, and I'm definitely afraid I'm gonna have to call an ambulance for this old racist guy. But after an hour of, like, hooking up the bike, we finally get running. And we get on the road. And boy howdy, if I thought he was a racist before, I certainly knew he was once he started yelling about traffic. We're talking hard R N-words more than once. And I'm like, this fucking guy, I want to not be dealing with him. But he went out of his way to save my bacon and is taking me to the Harley dealership to get my things. I'm just smiling and nodding at this guy and trying to be as, like, polite and understanding as possible, despite me being as diametrically opposed to this guy as I could possibly be. But he's saving my ass. But he's horrible. But he's saving my ass. But he's horrible. This contradiction is not going away, and I hate it. But he's horrible. But he's saving my ass. But he's horrible. What do I do here? How do I... This is so hard for me to reconcile. Anyway, we finally get to Antelope Valley Harley-Davidson, and, like, it's so bad. The damage on my bike is so bad. One, they are astounded that I stayed up. Two, they are astounded that I didn't notice how bad the damage to my bike was, because they had, and I quote, never seen a roadworthy bike. I don't think it was roadworthy. They'd never seen a roadworthy bike with that much damage. I don't think the word they used was roadworthy, but I was still riding it up to the time, essentially, that I got it onto the trailer hitch. Trailer hitch? Bike cage? Yeah, this was a whole fucking thing. Meanwhile, the old racist guy who saved me... I'm never gonna get used to that statement. He, like, nonchalantly walks into the, like, workshop area, into the, like, garage, and lies down on a truck bed. Like, not his, someone else's, and I'm just like, alright. So we go through the process, and I'm trying to get handled, like, my extended warranty is now gone. It was done as of February, so I no longer had cheap bike rentals, so that was out. I'm gonna have to make a claim against my insurance because I'm looking at least $2,000 in repairs by the looks of it, and that's probably gonna go up from here because I took a hit. And then it was so bad that we were actually, like, I was shooting the shit with the service team. They offered me a beer. Like, they actually offered me a Budweiser. I didn't take it. I don't drink. But, like, the fact that it was bad enough that the service people were like, you need this. Oh, dear. Things have happened if we're at that point. If a bunch of strangers is like, you need a beer, man. I'm like, yeah, I do. So now, okay, my bike is safely at Harley. Great. Problem 1 is now solved. Okay, let's figure out how to solve problem 2. I am now in Lancaster. This is far away from my home. I'm like, all right, plan A is I will take the train. I will have someone pick me up at Union Station. I first called Rye, a.k.a. Charlie, a.k.a. my FC leader in FF14. I reached out to him, and I'm like, yo, is there any chance you can pick me up from the train station in like 2 hours? I think that's when the train's coming in. I'm like, he's like, yeah, sure, let me see what I can do. I checked the train schedule, and I'm like, never mind. Train stopped running at like 4:30. The next train's at 3 a.m. So that's not going to work. So to recap, my bike is fucked. Renting a new bike would be prohibitively expensive. And the trains have stopped running from Antelope Valley to anywhere that isn't Antelope Valley. So now I'm in full-on panic mode, and I'm just texting everybody in the LA area I could think of, like, please come save me! I don't want to be in the Great Brown North any longer than I have to be. I'm like, I don't need more deserts in my life. I've had enough of deserts. I've had enough of deserts. I don't need more deserts. Finally, a friend of mine who works at Pixelogic, her roommate, Furiel, who's a really cool human being, and I love her to death. I've mentioned before that I have this friend who does tarot. This is this friend who does tarot. She's like, I will come save you. And I'm like, thank fucking God. I'm saved. I trust her. She's good people. She's not a racist bastard. She's coming to save me anyway. I'm good with this. So I end up hanging out at my cousin Nelson's house. I told you he lived up in that way. He picked me up from the Harley place, took me to his place. We talked about FF14, World of Warcraft. Nelson's the one who recently joined my my FF14 free company. I talked about him, Icewing. He came pick me up, and I'm like giving him some like over-the-shoulder new player advice. Just like, here's how you extract your materia, and here's the best way to store your gear, and this will be good and helpful for you. And he's like, okay, thank you, I appreciate it. I'm like, cool. Finally Furiel gets there, and like an hour and a half later, I'm finally home. I bought her dinner, because of course I did. I filled up her gas tank because of goddamn fucking course I did. She just drove like 100 miles grand total to come save me. So I'm like, man, what a fucking day. Man, what a fucking day. I am donezo, guys. So now I have to deal with the next phase of list of problems. Problem 1. My bike is in Lancaster. It's going to take X amount of time to get repaired. They needed to get an inspector up there, so that's going to take 2 or 3 days at least. He said it could take about 10. I'm like, alright, fine. So I have no motorcycle. I have no means of transportation. My license is Class M only. I am not legally allowed to drive a 4-wheeled vehicle. And as I said, renting a bike is at this point in time prohibitively expensive. So I'm going to have to do some interesting things when it comes to shopping and errands and getting the fuck back out there for the makeup day of work, because today started because the board fried and that work isn't done. So that's a challenge I have to deal with. I have to deal with my insurance and make sure that they're, like, cool covering this, because I did technically get into a bike accident. I hit debris. I didn't hit any other vehicle. So, yeah, I've got to deal with that. And eventually I've got to deal with the fact of getting back up there to pick up my bike, though that should be okay with the train. I feel like taking the train up north is probably going to be easier than taking the train down south for some inexplicable reason. I hope. I don't know. Like, I don't want to spend $400 on an Uber or a Lyft. That's just... no. I don't want to do that. So, I have some challenges yet that need to be solved. But the hard part of... I got my bike to a Harley dealership, and I got home safely, and while my brain is thoroughly frazzled, and I have a very crazy cat because I left her alone all day, these are minor problems that will be solved just over time. I'm stressed the fuck out. I am exhausted because today was just beyond stressful. But life goes on. This could have been a lot worse. I didn't go down. I didn't eat shit. I'm not injured at all. I kept the bike upright. I got it to the shop. It wasn't totaled. At least I don't think it is. If my suspension's fucked, then that's a whole other conversation I'm going to have to start having, which is not a conversation I want. But we will see. So yeah, I'm just going to say a couple last little words. Thanks again to that first MC member who helped me off the highway. I wish I knew what patch you were, man. I wish I knew what patch you were. Thank you to Nick, the Sundowners prospect, who helped me get a ride out of there, who helped me find the old racist guy. And yes, as much as I hate the guy, thank you to the old racist bastard for going out of your way to help me, some random Jewish motherfucker you've never met before. Because you did go out of your way to help me, and I have to acknowledge that, even if you are an old racist bastard. I don't know what to do with this information. This is really messing with my head. I'm like, he did something that made me really, really grateful. And he had no reason to go out of his way to help me, but he did. I'm having a weird fucking day, man. Alright. That's all the energy I have. I needed to get everything that happened today, these words. I needed to get them out of my... Need to get them off my chest and out into the open and out into the airwaves where they belong. Because this has been one for the books. This is going to be a funny story one day, but for today, what a pain in the ass. But I'm home. I'm safe. This could have been a lot worse. I am thankful for that, and I am thankful for those 3 gentlemen who, for better or worse, saved my bacon today. Y'all are fantastic. Have a good one, guys. Peace.